Hi, welcome to another episode of Small Doses with Laura Sell. I've talked a little bit about, well, a lot about my diagnosis with diabetes, with type 2 diabetes, and I've told you uh, about my hospital stay and how I was treated. I've talked to you about what happened when I left the hospital, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper today. I told you at one point how I did a lot of research, and I continue to do a lot of research about type 2 diabetes and what do the numbers mean and what does the medication do and how does food impact my life. I continue to research everything I can get my hands on. Whenever I get new information, I'm always trying to find how to live with this disease, get rid of this disease, beat this disease, whatever I can do. Um, I think I mentioned my favorite doctor who retired. I told you I cried when I got the letter that he was retiring. Well, what I really liked about him was he was proactive, and he liked the fact that I was not excited about taking medication, that I was always looking for a way that I could change myself, my behavior, things that I was doing to make my life better. So he was always very encouraging about me continuing to eat more green, healthy, live food. He was always very encouraging about me exercising. He knew that I had a love for Zumba and aerobics and yoga, strength training, and he encouraged that. And strength training is very important as we age, ladies. Dumbbells, resistance bands. That's very important for us. But anyway, it's another day. Um, so basically, my doctor and I had what I like to call a mutual admiration society. We had shared interests about health. He also was a patient he was a doctor, but he was a patient because he had rheumatoid arthritis as well. So we shared war stories, and we talked about different things that we tried to help alleviate pain or discomfort with that disease. Um, I wish everybody could have a doctor like that. In fact, I miss having one like that who's willing to be open with me and discuss those type of things about natural ways to get better and improve my health. So after I was diagnosed with diabetes and I began to learn different things about the disease, I became very angry. I was very disenchanted with the practice of medicine and pharmacology and all of that. I was very angry because I couldn't understand why it took for me to have to be diagnosed with diabetes to really learn about diabetes. Why isn't this something we actually talk more openly about? Um, why is it we don't learn the details until we're afflicted with it or someone we care about is afflicted with diabetes? Um, Basic information. You know, maybe some of you've experienced this, like when you're in your late 20s or your early 30s, and you maybe pick up 10, 15 pounds, and your doctor says, oh, you've gained a little weight. When I see you the next time, maybe you should have lost about 10 pounds. I hear people say this all the time. It happened to me when I was young. And the doctor wants you to lose 5, 10, 15 pounds. Okay, well, that's where ball drop happens right there. The doctor sends you off and hopes you magically know how to lose weight. And they may or may not give you a printout about things that you probably should or shouldn't eat. But they don't tell you why. And they don't tell you how these different foods impact your body, the things that you probably shouldn't eat. They just may tell you what you shouldn't eat. Um, Maybe perhaps right then when doctors tell you that you need to lose 10 pounds, maybe they should put you with a nutritionist, someone who has studied food and how it affects the body, to help you understand what this 10 pounds mean, how you can lose it, keep it off, and why you should eat the way that they're recommending you to eat. Maybe they should say to you then, well, you're 28 or you're 30 years old, and we don't want you to continue to eat the way that you're eating so that you don't become a person who has high blood pressure or diabetes or heart disease. Because you have to keep in mind, when people are young, we feel invincible. We all do. In your 20s, you never imagine anything bad happening to yourself. even in your 30s, you don't imagine certain things happening to yourself. Now, you may know your grandmother or grandfather may have these things, but you just don't see it for yourself. So the first time a doctor tells you to lose weight, or even as you're older and a doctor tells you you need to lose weight, perhaps they should take the next step and put you with a nutritionist who can help you to understand. Because if a person knew how to lose the weight, they probably wouldn't have gained it in the first place. That's just how I think. But again, I say it repeatedly, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV. I can't give you medical advice. I can only tell you what's happened to me and what questions that you could probably ask on your own behalf. I don't know why they don't talk to us about what possibly lies ahead if we continue with some of the behaviors or lifestyles that we have. I did know a little bit about diabetes. My grandfather was diabetic. Now, I don't know if he was type 1 or type 2 diabetes. He had diabetes by the time I was born or whenever I was aware that he was a person. I do know that he took insulin. My grandmother would give him his insulin shots. And I paid attention to how she prepared his food. If he had grits in the morning with his breakfast, he didn't have bread. There was no bread with that. If he had bread in the morning, there was no grits with that. And lunch and dinner pretty much went the same way. If there, it was only be one starch. He wouldn't have like corn and a roll or potatoes and a roll. It would, definitely be some green things on his plate, and the starches were limited. That's about all I knew about diabetes. Now, I know that I want to say he had a toe amputated at some point. So I always associated amputation with diabetes. So that was always scary to me as a child, not understanding how high blood sugars affect all of the systems in the body. And so, but that was all I knew about diabetes, was that my grandfather had it. Like I said, I don't know if he was type 1 or type 2. I knew that he had to take insulin. I knew that they put this product, I don't think it's on the market anymore, called saccharin in his coffee in the morning. So that was it. All I knew was that my grandfather had it, and there were certain things he couldn't eat. I didn't know why he couldn't eat them. I just knew that he couldn't eat them. We have to do better about teaching about nutrition. The truth of the matter is, type 2 diabetes is preventable. It is primarily caused by what's on the end of your fork or what sits inside your spoon. It's primarily based on what we eat. And we eat based on what we've learned. Food is cultural. Come on, I don't care what your roots are. I don't care what nationality or what race or ethnicity you come from. Food is cultural. And people eat to celebrate. We eat when we're sad. We eat when we're mourning. We eat to live. And we like to eat things that we like. And we're not always conscious of these things that we like to eat, how they manifest themselves in our bodies. Yeah, we know, well, I'm going to get fat if I eat too much of this or that. And people will tell you, oh, you shouldn't eat that, you're gaining weight. Or I shouldn't eat that because I'm gaining weight. But we never stop to think about the other ways that food affects us. We always think about our weight. We don't think about heart conditions, high blood pressure, or diabetes. We have to do better about how we treat food, how we think about food. We have to be more responsible with, our intake, and how food affects us. This needs to be part of learning in early stages, not just once we become diagnosed. Again, I don't know why this information isn't given to people early on. I do know that there are doctors who think that there's no need in telling you that you don't need to eat certain foods because food is cultural, and they don't think that you're going to change. They don't think you're willing to change, but they don't give you that option, do they? Most doctors don't. And then I would say this. Sometimes people are insulted because if your doctor is of another ethnicity and they begin to suggest that there are foods you shouldn't have or shouldn't eat, people become insulted and they feel like, well, you just don't understand because you're different from me. That difference might be the thing that can help you save your life or extend the quality of life that you have by learning to eat differently. We don't like change, and we really don't like change with our food. Um, we get caught up with the artificial sweeteners, so I won't drink a a soda with sugar in it. I'll drink a sugar-free soda or a soda that has a zero on it. Or we'll switch up and use these substitute sweeteners that are made in labs. And if you research them, some of those aren't good for you. They can cause cancer or contribute to cancer. Um, we all have to be very mindful about, the decisions that we make, the foods that we eat. Um, like I said, a lot of doctors aren't going to think that are going to think that you aren't going to want to change, so they're not going to make these suggestions to you. So maybe you should ask the questions when you go to the doctor. Okay, how about if I change how I eat? How does my eating affect this disease? What things do you suggest that I do? Should you send me to a nutritionist? Ask the questions. I didn't know to ask the questions. In fact, when they did send me to the class that was supposed to be a nutrition class, as I said before, I learned later that the materials that they were teaching us from were sponsored by food corporations who wanted us to buy their product, wanted to sell their product. So be careful who you get your information from. Do as much independent research as you can, but you still got to read between the lines because people have motives, they have agendas. Is their agenda to make more money? Is their agenda to sell more product? Again, no, there's no company that advertises for your wellness. I'm going to say that again. There's no company that advertises for your wellness. They advertise for you to take medication, but that's not being well. Medication doesn't necessarily cure you. Medication oftentimes relieves the symptoms of whatever is going on with you. So do you want to be healthy or do you want to feel better? Which one is it? Because it's not always the same thing. You may feel better when you're healthy, but you can also feel better and still not be healthy. So what do you want? Do you want to not have a disease? Do you want to minimize the effects the disease is having on your body? But I guarantee you that I know for sure diabetes, type 2 diabetes happens because of what's on the end of your fork. And you can change that. So if you're pre-diabetic or newly diabetic, newly diagnosed with diabetes, you've got to be more mindful. I'm going to tell you the situation that upset me really badly. I was at a church function and the first lady was there, and apparently she was diabetic, and they had this pound cake. And she ate it, and she was like, oh, that cake is so good, I'm going to eat some more, and I'm going to take another pill. Oh, my God. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, y'all. Don't feel like because you're on medication that the medication is fixing anything. I am not going to begrudge anybody to have that piece of pound cake. I may choose not to have it because I know how I feel about my numbers. But if this is what she wanted to have, okay, eat the cake, anime, and deal with whatever the numbers are going to do. But for gosh sakes, please don't take another pill. Your blood sugar is going to go up because you ate that cake. But the answer is definitely not to just go ahead and take another pill. Maybe take a walk around the block and drink some extra water. Maybe eat a tiny piece of a slice of the cake or a half of the slice of the cake. But, oh my gosh, she was going to take another pill because she wanted to eat another piece of pound cake. I can't tell you what to do with your life. I can only live mine, and I can only speak for myself. I'm I'm out here in these streets trying to do the best I can to hang on a little bit longer. And again, I'm sharing my story with you because I'm thinking that there are people out there who've had similar situations that I have had, or similar feelings about things, or being overwhelmed with diagnosis and feeling like you just want to give up. I would tell you this: don't give up. Never give up. Keep trying to figure it out. Keep asking the questions. Ask the doctors. Ask the pharmacists. Pharmacists know because they know what you're taking. They have a whole list of all your meds. I even had a pharmacist told me, I won't say what medication it is because I don't want people to be out here jumping off medication because of what a pharmacist told me. But there was a particular medication that the doctor gave me. I am going to tell you what it was because that's what I'm doing. I'm being open and I'm being transparent. It was a medicine for cholesterol. I don't remember what the medication was. But the pharmacist looked at my record and he said to me, Miss Johnson, I recommend that you don't take this every day. And I said, well, why? He says, I'm looking at all these other things that you take. He said, and this particular medication can cause these. He listed the side effects. And he said, I don't think you should take it every day. I said, okay. So I didn't. I didn't take it every day. He told me to take it 2 or 3 times a week. Now, this is a person who mixes this stuff and puts it together and knows how medicines interact with each other. So when I told the physician what the pharmacist said, the physician was like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You should take it every day. It's going to be fine. It doesn't cause those side effects. Or what she didn't recognize was I had already gone online and looked up what this guy said, and I looked up the medication from the website of the people who made it. And indeed, what he said was listed as side effects of the medication. So now I'm in a conundrum. Who do I believe? Do I believe the pharmacist who has actually studied these medications and how they interact with each other? Or do I trust the doctor, on the other hand, who has prescribed the medication to take care of a situation that I had with the cholesterol? So I just go somewhere in the middle. I've got the doctor saying one thing. I've got the pharmacist saying one thing. I've done some research. I'm reading labels. And I just have to go with what my gut tells me. So I kind of lean to what the pharmacist said. He studies this stuff. He knows about these chemicals. I don't know how extensive the actual doctor study about these chemicals are. I know that the pharmaceutical reps are in their offices and they talk to them. I know this because my appointments have been delayed while you have these meetings with these people who are pushing pills. So I can only imagine that they're hard salesmen because they're trying to make their commission and they need for you to peddle and push this medication onto us. So, like I said, Big Pharma is not our friend. They pretend they want you to be well. They need you to be sick so that you can keep taking the medication. But that's where I'm going to wrap with that right now. Just be careful with the information that you have. If you don't have diabetes and you don't have high blood pressure and you don't have any of these chronic illnesses, good. But what I want you to do is go research them, learn about them, do what you can to avoid them. Maybe you can learn something that can help mom and dad and grandma and auntie and somebody else you know who has these diagnoses. But this stuff is real, folks. And it's costly if you think about it. Medications, co-pays, the different tests that you have to get done, the blood work. If you can avoid these costs, why wouldn't you avoid these costs? So take care of yourself, eat well, move your body. Yeah, not move your house, move your body. And have a great day. This has been another episode of Small Doses with Laura Sell. Click like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.